With the laws set to change later this year, it's an exciting time for cannabis in Canada. Yet with many unanswered questions, it's a confusing time for consumers and producers. In this series, we wade through the murky waters of legalization, talk to the experts, and weed out any uncertainty about Vancouver's most controversial plant. This is Vannabis 101.
Legalization doesn't necessarily mean freedom around cannabis. What Bill C-45 was intended to do is to legalize and then severely restrict production and access to cannabis.
Under the new laws, we have to be concerned that we're going to see our diverse and vibrant cannabis industry in our city replaced with a handful of shops that have very little cannabis on the shelves.
What we're going to be facing is a few licensed producers who are quite large scale and a couple of smaller ones who are going to have to produce to a particular Health Canada standard. It's all going to be packaged identically, so we will not be able to really identify who's done what, and it's going to be challenging to look for the people who are doing it well.
And because we have already a very robust cannabis industry in Canada, legalization has to compete with that, and it's got to be better priced, higher quality, and better selection for it to do better than what's already out there now.
With this legalization framework, we're going to be losing 80% of our product diversity, and all of our micro growers, our small growers, are all disappearing.
The friends that you get pot from, are they concerned about what's going to happen when things go legal?
Yeah, I think everybody is. There's nothing on the table right now as to what is going to happen.
It doesn't seem like everyone here is as excited about legalization as I thought they would be. There seems to be still like a bit of a protest in the air.
I think it's going to be a long time in the making, you know? Like, I think the fact that it's getting legalized is a good step forward. It's not maybe necessarily the way everyone would like it to, but at least we're taking the conversation and moving it one step at a time.
We're still going to end up being illegal because we're still trying to grow our own weed and have our own community, and they've deemed that illegal. Like, even with legalization, it's still their way.
But this idea that we're going to push aside all the current cannabis industry and replace it with a brand new industry stamped by the government, this whole idea that it's a brand new industry we're creating in Canada is this bizarre narrative. It's really a very long-standing industry, which has done a pretty good job of self-regulating and controlling itself.
The transition of the existing BC cannabis industry, which Justice Canada says are 95% or more otherwise law-abiding citizens. So through their work in the cannabis space, we've created a climate where legalization is a must.
I'm going to participate in the legal framework, and I'm going to work my best to make changes from the inside. And I'm going to speak loud and clear and advocate for full inclusivity.
We have a community that is thriving, and we don't need the government coming in and telling us how to operate, how we've been operating for years. We've got this down pat, we know what we're doing. Just say we're not criminals anymore, that's all we want.
Legalization shouldn't leave those people behind. In BC, the Fraser Institute says $2 to $7 billion. Cannabis is 3 times bigger than the wine industry, 4 times bigger than craft beer. So seeing a transition of the existing industry into the regulated environment is actually critical for economic stability throughout BC.
But in 5 years, I think we're still going to have dispensaries selling cannabis without a license. I think we're still going to be fighting court cases to define what's legal and what isn't.
So we won't have any relationships with our growers. We will have to really work hard to make connections with them, to tell them what we need, what we want to see, where improvement needs to be made. It's a big disconnect.
They're going to try to force us into their legal shops by increasing the penalties, by cracking down, by raiding dispensaries, shutting them down. That is a flawed approach that is doomed to failure.